Yes, that's Lenny Kravitz with Lady. That's, by the way, that my husband is a huge fan of Lenny Kravitz, and we went some years ago to see him in Connecticut. Nonetheless, the awesome trip, awesome place, Connecticut. We're in some casino, which I forgot the name of that casino right now, but yeah, my husband and I went to see Lenny Kravitz there, and it was fantastic show. He's a really, really great rock star, as you can expect from Hege mulattoes. I like to think mongrels know how to boom, boom, boom. I mean, these, it's like there's mulattoes who own rockers, and they're not well known like Lenny Kravitz, Tom Morello, but my husband and I know because we rock music fans, so we see them. Anyway, this is Monica, your friend Monica. Happy Sunday. We're gonna continue with our reading today with Dr. Michael Parenti, which is the black shirts and rest, the rationalization of fascism and the overthrow of communism. But before we do, we're gonna go through our family drama. But before I do, I always want to say that I did my little purview of what's happening on planet Earth, and I can only see what's being presented to me through what white colonizers capable to allow me to see, which is mostly them. And maybe if I'm lucky, I see something that is not white supremacy agenda driven, like trying to program me. But which I really didn't see nothing other than the spirit of what white supremacists are trying to do right now. I'm really disturbed with Venezuela, to be honest with you. I'm not entirely sure what is going on. Maybe it's a psychological warfare they're playing on us. They're trying to give us the illusion that white supremacy is taking over the country, and like it's some white supremacy. Now it's not going to be where black folks, indigenous people can have some dignity. It might wind up some shit like El Salvador or some of these scary places. So that's that. Another thing that's really disturbing is Cuba. There's a potential the white supremacists are trying to starve that little island because they say, hey, no, we do not want to be a colony. No, we do not want white supremacists stealing all that shit here. And it seemed like even though white supremacists been punishing this country for saying, no, we don't want to be colonized. No, we don't want to be a slave. They are ratcheting up the pressure. So that's another thing. And the last thing that I want to mention in terms of what's going on the planet Earth is that these white degenerates are trying to go forward with the war with Iran, right? And Iran has said that, and I hope I can find the quote, and it came from the Grand Ayatollah Khamenei. He gave a speech and in Tehran to his people, and he said that the people in the West need to understand, the people in the West, including me, we need to understand that if the white degenerates that rule this world, if they go forward with this war, it will throw the whole region into chaos. And that sounds like, well, I don't live in the Middle East, not my problem. Oh, well, no, it is your problem. Because if that happened, there's going to be a whole shit of consequences. A whole shit. Let me just put it that way. I don't want to pontificate what, but I'm going to tell you right now, if that happened, it's going to affect you. It should affect you if it's going to kill a lot of Middle Eastern. That should be bad enough for you to know, like, Middle Eastern people, Arab people, Persian people, people in this region should be killed. That should be good enough to say, hey, white degenerates, can y'all not kill these Arab people? For me, that's bad enough, okay? But if that's not bad enough for you, you should consider that we're already struggling here. Not everybody, but a lot of people struggling. And if you're struggling, you're gonna double, quadruple struggle. If you're not struggling, you're gonna start struggling. Okay? That's all I can tell you about that. So that is very, in this country, we do not have anti-war movement. If we do, they're so oppressed, they're so obscure. First of all, the public sphere is closed. We're not allowed to go on the public sphere, because we have these thugs, right? We used to call them KKK, but now they call ICE, will just execute you on the street. So they already said, hey, you cannot make your voice heard, which will lead me to, again, the grocery bag we've been discussing in this family play. But what I'm trying to say is it will be happening. And the last thing I will say, I'm sorry if I said that was the last thing, but I really, really wouldn't even say the last thing, is that we were told by white degenerates in the white supremacy house that there was a ceasefire. That ceasefire did not take effect. It did not take effect. Children, human babies that look like my children, brownies, and some whiteys, and a variety of colors, are still being slaughtered in the Gaza Strip, in the West Bank, and they're being still killing by white degenerates like the ones in the white supremacy house. In fact, the ones in the white supremacy house. Okay, so that was a lie, okay? That was the lie. And it's still happening. And people cannot pretend that the extermination campaign the white folk started in the occupied Palestine, it has stopped. It has not. Because like I've been saying for a long time, their goal is to achieve what they achieve here in the United States, which is terminate indigenous people, take over the land, and then repopulate them with white folks. Okay? This erasure of white folks is going to be a Jewish one. Okay? That's the goal. Okay? Alright? So I just want us to put that on the record, that's what's happening in West Asia, also known as North Africa, also known as the Middle East. Okay? So that being said, it brings me back to our family play. So if you remember yesterday, yesterday was in episode 9 of this family drama. Okay, now I do want to clarify about this, the number of episodes, how this. Now this obviously it started off on episode 1, but in terms of the family drama, in terms of why I felt like, hey, this really is a play. Monica Augustine, David Augustine's wife, also known as the villain protector, and Monica, the villain, the brownie, I'm living to a play. So that happened, that recognition happened to me on episode 7. So I just want me make sure, if you haven't been paying close attention and analyzing like they do when school or the university, when you are analyzing the play closely, that's when I realized that. Okay, that's what personally. Prior to that event, I was sort of kind of like, just more or less commiserating, because I'm in dismay on what I'm really, what really transpired here, right? That was more or less. And of course, I'm just express myself, because this is what I do anyway. I read my books, and I record them on video, and I publish them. Okay? So that's what I do. But that day, that's when I'm like, hold on. This is really a play. Okay? And just need to I need to pursue this play. Now, before I discovered this was a play, the episode before that was the episode number 6. I decided that I'm going to introduce, well, somehow I discovered that, hey, up to this point, I was implying the characters of this play, but I did not really label them. I had no names for them. I just knew that they are characters, right? They just appear in a way, but that episode I managed to label who these characters are, and those are the ones we've been discussing, right? So because of that, I now had the characters. After I had the characters, then it's dawned on me, oh my God, this is a play. I am really living in a play. I can't be going to Broadway to try like Hillary Clinton does every Sunday night to sit in a Broadway with her popcorn. I'm really living it every moment of my life. So I was like, fine, let's keep going with this play. So that's how this play comes to be. So now going back to the episode yesterday, if you remember, we discussed about what were on those papers, on the 530 papers. And I speculated that Monica Augustine, also known as the brownie, also known as the villain, also known as the David's wife, I perhaps feature on those papers. Okay? That was one of the things that I was saying about that situation. Okay. And I said that seemed a bit, I'm not sure if it's true or no, because I don't have access to those papers, so I can't confirm that as fact, but I have my suspicion, and I think I would just leave it at I have suspicions of that. Okay, that's one thing. Now, why would I think I'm suspicious that I may be on those partner attorney paper? It's because I have a good inclination, right? Now, I'm pretty convinced at this point that the decision, if you remember what the play is about the fact that I hope I don't have to recount it, right? Really, what is the play? It's the fact that Monica was excluded from going to the principal character hospital room, also known as Jean, right? The matriarch of this family, the Augustine family. Monica, the brownie, the villain, right? David's wife, I was excluded. All these white folks were able to go to that room except me, right? So that's the genesis of the play. That's the elephant in the room. And that is a pretty big deal, in my opinion, okay? So that's what this is about. And then yesterday I also said, and I've been saying it, I hope I have been saying that, because that was pretty clear, that when they made that decision, when the decision was made that the Ronnie, David's wife, the villain of this play, she wouldn't be going to the hospital room of the principal character, also known as Jean, it was not about me, right? I said that was said, right? It was not about me. That's what I was told. It's about the principal character, right? That's what was said. And I'm like, if it was not about me, I don't understand why I was not permitted to go with my husband, also known as the villain supporter, also known as David, to the hospital room. So if it was not by me, that would have never take place. So yes, it was about me. So I already said that just stop. It was about me. Of course, it was about the principal character but it was also about me. Okay? Because it's not about Emily, it's not about Lacey, it's not about David, it's not about Henry, it's not about Tom, right? It was about me, Monica. Okay? Alright? So that's what I say. Okay? Now, we already know that that's the issues here. Why would principal character, why would Jean do this, right? Now, I expanded also to refresh your mind that what clues do we have to know that she made that decision, okay? And I give 2 clues, all right? I give them 2 clues. So I'm trying to make sure that I'm not just imposing something on the principal character, but I'm also demonstrating with evidence why would I think that, okay? So to know I have full faith, and I'm actually not trying to, I'm not trying to paint this lovely grandmother, mother, the matriarch of the Augustine family as a bad person. No, I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to demonstrate that she made that decision. I don't think that was the correct decision. I don't think that's something that should have been done, but it was done. And since that's a big allegation, in my view, I have to be very careful at every step of the way when I'm trying to say that she was done this. Now, I am not angry at her like I already expanded yesterday. Also, if you watched that episode, I am not resentful. I hold no grudges. But I just want us to learn for this whole experience because this is a play. That's what a play is supposed to be about. I don't know what plays you guys watch. The Hamilton, that's a Hamilton family. So, I don't know how the Hamilton family situation was there, but this is the Augustine play, Augustine family. This is our situation. So we got to just put our situation on the ground. So, I'll say that I think is the matriarch family, who made that decision. And Christine, in one of the other episodes, I say that I really also give her credit and say that I respect her. I have gained a whole different level of appreciation and respect for her at a whole different human dimension. One of ways being like she took her head, right? She confronted the villain, me, and she took her head, right? And she, at no moment in the whole waiting room in a ICU 3rd floor unit in a hospital did she mention that any of this has anything to do with the principal character of this play. And I was pretty much convinced that she had nothing to do with this. Christine, she took it upon herself, and I had to put Christine on her place and say, hey, that's not your decision to decide who goes to principal character, also known as Jean, also known as the matriarch of the Augustine family room, because I, Monica Augustine, also known as the villain, also known as the brownie, also known as David's wife, I'm entitled to go to that room to see Jean Augustine, Davis, my husband's mother's, when my husband is ready to go in that room and take advantage of his 30 minutes. That was, you say, that's what we need to do, 30 minutes. 2 people, sound like perfect. I said, I am gonna go. So she had to deal with me and everything that's entailed to it. And if you go to some of my videos, you'll see that she wasn't coming across pleasantly in my view. I let her have it, essentially. Okay, this is how, you euphemistically or metaphorically, how you whatever. That's how she wasn't coming across well, and I had a strong inclination that this Christine, also known about that way, she crossed some line that she should have never crossed, and she told me, this is a new introduction to some of the things that was said, that she didn't care what I think of her, right? She didn't say that. So she took a hit, though. She took a hit. And so when I find out, hey, this is really, Christine had very little or not. Only thing she did is she did a lot of label, took a lot of metaphorically, euphemistically necessary inconvenience from me, Monica, the villain, the also known as David's wife, also known as the brownie, that she really didn't deserve as minimum. She shouldn't have done it. Because if I knew that the principal character was involved, I would have spared Christine all of that. That would have never happened out of me, just for justice reasons. Because I'm trying to live by justice. Okay, I would have been like, you know what? That she is doing what her mother wishes are. That's correct thing to do. So, this is not her call. It was called by the person in IC unit, which is the principal character, also known as Chin, right? That's what I would approach that situation. But then, so I already mentioned that. Okay. Already mentioned that. But then, I come back to the principal character. I'm like, you will ask, okay, Monica, we understand all of that. The Christine role, the Henry, also known as Jean, common law husband. Lacey was doing some crying on the hallway in the fourth floor because the whole situation was transporting the principal character and everything like that, and all of it. So if you go back to that, all of that was said, right? And you suspect that this decision was communicated in those bond attorney papers or some on any other way. Why would the principal character, Jean, the matriarch of the Augustine family, why was she single out the brownie and the Augustine family, also known as a villain, also known as David's wife, out of all these other white folks? Are you saying this is racial thing, or are you saying what are you trying to say? Okay, but it's essentially what a logical person would think. Are you saying that they're singling you out, the brownie, because you're the brownie and all these are white folks? Is that what you're saying? No, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. Okay? That's not what I'm saying. But it's true. I am the brownie, and the brownie is here too. It's here. Okay? I'm not saying that. There's some of that, but not quite like that. Okay? So why was you said yesterday that she would have to go through a lawyer, write it down, right? Check some quirks, some stamps on papers. Why would she do that? Why would you suspect why would you suspect this really charming white woman, a matriarch of the family? Why would you think of this lovely woman on this? What's going on here? Can you please give us more information? Why would you suspect that's other than what you already, some of the evidence you came to the table with, well, why would you say that? And that's when that crying that we had with Lacey in the hallway come into play. Now, I'm not going to feature Lacey in this episode, but I'm just going to say the crying is maybe a star. I don't know. We'll see how this goes. But the crying is always a star in the Augustine family. Okay? So that's the first thing I can let you know. Crying is a feature of the Augustine family. Are you saying that the Augustine family is a crybabies? No, that's not what I'm saying. No, these are very tight-lipped white folks, like most white folks. They don't cry, okay? But there are some members in the family that have done the crying. And I'm going to tell you why the crying may be a bit of an issue. So then, so while this lovely lady was singing out the brownie, making her feel like she is a disabled child who had forced to go to the short bus instead of going to the regular bus with everybody. Why would you do that to the brownie? Well, why the villain? Why the villain? What would that be? Then I have to bring you some of the reason, potential reason. All right, why I have to give you what I would call a history or something. All right, remember I told you that yesterday when I discovered this is the play, this is gonna be a play. I told you that this is not the first play that I thought is a play. The other play that I discovered this maybe a family play was only recited to my husband, and a lot of the narration of the play was done when we go to the DuPace Forest Reserve trail that my husband did do a lot when it's not super freezing cold like it is right now. And so that was the play, and the play went on and on and on, but it did faded out. And I thought that every this play, let's conclude it. No big deal. Wow, I'm glad it's concluded and everything seemed fine. So that's why I had to bring you back. I had to engage. I had to bring this play, the first play, into me because I believe the first play has everything to do with this play. Okay. So what happened? What was the other play about? The other play is that my husband, as already mentioned in another episode, live in this house. You see everything in the back? This is a house. This house with two other people, also known as Lacey and Emily. Okay? Those are also known as David's daughters. And I really hinted to the fact that we dated for 8.5 years, right? And I won't go into all of that, but it's suffice to say that we dated for a long time until one day, and we dated for a long time. It's essentially, right? We dated for a very long time. We were extremely committed couple, extremely close. You might as well call us a husband and wife because that's really what it was, Anyway, so that's that, right? Now, up to our relationship, we work it out however we work it out. But he was having some what I consider difficulties with the daughters, okay? No, just put it that way. I'll try not to intervene too much, okay? Because stuff that I really don't want to, I don't think they're important. If I feel like they need to be in display, they will be in display. But I don't just respect and love and support for my husband, David. But Monica, if you don't know already, I'm a kind of person that I know I'm particular about boundaries. And I'm particular when I know things have went from where they should be to where they wind up. And I'm not the kind of person that would say, hey, we need to, because we wind up here, we just have to keep it like that. No, I think things should be in the proper order, okay? Now I'm not judgmental, but at a minimum, once I know the thing, hey, a bit off the whack, they need to be straightened out. Just like I said yesterday, my room was messy, very messy. And I was like, you know what, this is unfair. I'm being not a good wife. I need to rectify the situation. And you know what, after my show yesterday, I did just that, okay? That's how just what I think. But nevertheless, with this whole situation with my husband and his children, something happened. I already mentioned that on Lacey's graduation day from high school, something happened. And I knew from that moment, that was, I think, at least 6 months before our wedding, that the situation, me letting David handle everything, is not, it cannot work. It's not gonna be a thing anymore. I had to step in, right? That's the thing. Now, when I make that decision, right? It was not because I wanted to make a decision because I'm Monica. Now I'm in charge. I'm the boss, and I just want to make that decision. No, that's not what happened. The behavior compelled me to know, hey, my husband is in trouble, and in having him get farther down the rabbit hole, I'm gonna rescue my husband while I still have a chance. Okay, that's what it was. That was an intervention also. That's why. And because I took the intervention, some cries is when cries start. Right? So from that day on, I was like, in this house, the person in charge is David Augustine. Everybody else, y'all not here. Y'all need to listen to David Augustine, and these are David Augustine rules. I didn't say that, Monica, right? At the time, my name was not Monica Augustine. My name was Monica Esono Sanchez. Okay, that was my name. That was my mom and dad name at the time. Okay, but that's what I told this household, Lacey and Emily and David. Right? That was the thing I did. Right? Now, as I told already hinted before, this house was run by those two, not David. David was just going along with everything that's however they want. Right? And I was seeing the effect of that kind of behavior. Okay? And I just supported David, even though I knew that things needed to be addressed, okay? Because that's not what I expect. All right, so that happened. So that was when I made the decision. That's even before I knew we were going with the marriage thing, okay? But then I think a month later or so, things like that, David and I out and about on rock and roll. He said, hey, Monica, I don't know if you know, but no, this is not, but it's time for you to move in, and we need to do something called marriage, right? I say, I didn't know wasn't ready. I was a little bit like, oh, I I would still have one of my daughters that still stay with me, and I didn't know that was gonna be taking place. But when David said that, like I already said, I typically comply with my husband's request. So I say, okay, no problem. I swiftly told Isabella, hey, I'm gonna be moving out. You had to be relocating with one of your sisters. Okay? Now at first I was kinda feeling bad because I feel like I'm pushing and kicking Isabella out. I communicated to my mother. My mother was like, hey, this will just be just fine. It's time for you to be with David because y'all been together for long. You just should do the real thing. Okay? So after that happened, no problem. I was just like, we will be doing the real thing, calling marriage. I said, well, I know that house. You told me 2 weeks into this relationship that I shouldn't change anything in that house, and I have complied with that request for 8.5 years. But I, Monica, cannot move to the house unless all that shit is corrected thoroughly. So I told him that's gonna take place now. So I took upon myself and clear all the stuff that needed to be clear, and to make the place where Monica, could live, right? So I did just that. So that's what I say. One more thing I want to say. When that incident happened with Lacey on her high school graduation, that day, I just want to elucidate a little bit on that day. David told me that, hey, Monica, it's gonna be Lacey graduation. We have so many tickets, but so there's only enough for some of the members of this family, composing of Henry, also known as Lynn, common law husband, me, David, also the villain supporter, also Monica's husband, Emily, also known as David's daughter, and I think that was it. That was all the ticket. He did not have any more ticket. So you, the brownie, you won't be going to the ceremony on the graduation. But after the graduation, we will be going to dinner with Emily and Lacey, and to celebrate Lacey graduation because she did something impressive and amazing, which is graduating from high school. Because mind you, that's the only thing the state is willing to give us. The maximum education they're willing to give us without having to go bankrupt is high school graduation. Okay, and we all should take advantage of that if we under 18 years old. But anyway, that's basically this. So that day, when they were gonna go, Henry, also known as Jean, common law husband, and Jean, also known the principal character, the matriarch of the family, and Emily, and Lacey, and David, they were here, and I saw them before they go into the graduation, and I told the principal character, also known as Jean, that hey, I won't be going to Lacey graduation because there's not enough tickets. Moreover, David gonna give me very short order. I do not have a cute dress, so I can look cute. Because I like looking cute on graduation pictures like I did with my 4 children. I just like looking cute on graduations. It's not the thing that I want to go look in any kind of way. It's a day that I actually want to dress up and look cute. Okay, that's it. But he didn't. Now I do have a lot of clothes in David's room, but those are rock and roll related clothes. They were not dressed looking cute graduation type of clothing. Okay, so I didn't have cute graduation attire that I could have used for that day. So that's number one problem that we had that day. But she was like, hey, don't matter, Monica. Can Monica still go with us, right? It doesn't sound like this principal character has any problem with me, none whatsoever. But this is before we knew that something's gonna transpire later. So, fine, no problem. I'm in good terms with this family. They know of me. They've been seeing me. They know we together, or maybe they don't know what have you. And my husband is not a person who's gonna be saying, hey, my girlfriend X and Y and Z, and stuff like that. No, not very much. Very suddenly, right? And no problem. So what I'm trying to elucidate here is there was never an issue with me, with the principal character, or any member of this family up to that point or at any point, right? Which is non-zero. Because everybody was happy, David's happy, the babies are happy, everything just like that, okay? At least that's my impression, okay? So, no problem. That when I was in a basement with my computer or watching TV, whatever I was doing, I don't remember, don't matter. And then I think an hour and a half after they left, they came back. I said, hey, you guys are back. It's time for dinner. And they would say, no, we can't go to dinner yet. Or we can't go. Why? Why can't we go to dinner? We're supposed to celebrate. Lacey, not happy. She's crying because things didn't go out her way, right? Things didn't go out her way. So she's mad. We can't go. Alright? Now, I'm perturbed, okay? Because things didn't go out her way. And I know David, and I know David in relation to her children, and I know how extremely accommodating he is, how excessively reasonable he is. And I was like, okay, this is a day. First of all, I was not alarmed, but I was just alert, okay? After, 20 minutes or whatever, he came back and said, hey, let's go. I said, okay, I guess that was worked out. We jumped in the car on our way to dinner. On our way to the car, the crying did not stop. The behavior did not stop. And stuff was communicated in the car, which out of dignity, I'm gonna just trying to keep up between me and the members of that were in the car for now, okay? Unless I feel like it needs to be coming out. So that day, I was so taken aback that, whoa, this is not right. But I'm gonna tell you right now, that's not gonna be happening again. And nope, it won't be happening. Now that's before we even decided for marriage. But I knew this is David, this is the love of my life, and this thing won't be happening. It won't be happening. That's it. Right? That's all I say. And no, we almost then when we had to pull into somebody 3-car garage hallway to try to calm the situation before we can proceed. But we managed to get it together when finished the thing. Now, one of the things that was communicated in the car that disturbed me is what I picked up. Now, up to this point, I told you about a shadow in this house, and I'm going to keep it like that, a shadow. Now, a shadow was mentioned in the car. Now, up to that point, I sort of kind of went with what was communicated to me through David, which some of that he told me I should always keep it between us, right? Now, I'm a type of person that if you are saying something about somebody else or something, I have no reason not to believe you. I'm just going to say, I just take your word for it. That's the first one. Just like with Christine. He said, that was Jean who said that, and I just take her word for it. I didn't say, well, none of that. No, I just take her word for it, and I do want to try to find evidence, because I always want to get the evidence, because I'm a Western civilized human being. So that's what you're supposed to do. You gotta have evidence. So, but after that point, I took whatever it was communicated to me by David, also known as a villian supporter, also known as my husband, word for it, right? And I saw surface situation. But at that point, because the intensity of the interaction that I saw in the car on our way to dinner for party of this Lacey graduation in a high school, a monumentous achievement, I knew, well, I know David been telling me these things. I need to do my own investigation, all right, of the situation, right? The shadow, that's how I will have to get acquainted with the situation, because as far as I'm concerned, there should not be no problem with Lacey and Emily and David, because David is a stellar, pristine, father, mother, caretaker, okay? If you take 20 children and you divide the effort you put into them, if you take the effort that David I put for these 2 kids and you divide it by 20, that's more than enough, okay? In my opinion, okay? So this behavior, it didn't seem like it has justification. It was another realm that I was not gonna, because again, I just didn't want situation to keep repeating on my husband's life, and I had to make sure that it stays as such. But anyway, so that happened. I took it upon myself. So at first, I didn't know how I'm gonna do this bunch of learning, education, investigation, research, none of that. I didn't really know. And I still at a point respecting my husband's boundaries. So when my husband said that it's time for me for marriage and moving in and everything, I'll set out to try to fact check, so to speak, what was communicated to me through David. And what I find out is a lot worse than anything he ever told me, okay? Whole lot of worse. No problem. No, I don't hold it against anybody. That's life. So I was just like, listen, I'm just gonna help with this thing. This whole crying thing, it cannot be an excuse for a whole lot of other things that I don't think are necessary. So the rules were swiftly addressed in this house. And the rules, this is the house, the Augustine family, these are the rules. These are David Augustine rules. And they need to be obeyed. And that's just how it is. The rules need to be obeyed in this house. So, when I think things may have, up to this point, if you remember what I say, that everything was great with the principal character, also known as Jean, Henry, also known as Jean, common-in-law, or husband-in-law, things started to slightly unravel because some changes were taking in place here in this house, right, where you see me right now. So then, because I already decided that my husband's rules need to be enforced, I made the role of what I call is slave catcher, also known as pig, but is known as police. I'm the enforcer of my husband's rules in the house. So, a party was scheduled. This party is a member of the Augustine family, which I'm gonna try not to name, okay? But this family member is a family member of the Augustine, an aunt of my husband. So I'm gonna refer her as an aunt of my husband, just so I don't have to mention other things. An aunt of my husband had a party scheduled. All right. So if an aunt of my husband's gonna have a party, it's gonna have all the Augustine families, including us and other families, right, in this party. So that was scheduled that we will go there. Now, before that happened, right, my husband and him and Emily and Lacey, one day we went to the principal character house. Now, at this point, my husband and I, after she told me that day that I need to, time for me to consider, not consider, like it sounded more like a command. It's time for you to move in and do the marriage, right? Do a real thing, because we've been playing a marriage of sort, but now it's just gonna be a real thing. We already have decided that, and then so that was decided, and it was procured by way of, I said, fine, we will do this once all the cleaning take place and everything. I arrange the stuff so I can feel that I can move in this household, and it reflects me and it reflects you, David Augustine, instead of being some strange stuff that was before, just to put it mildly. He said, okay, fine. So I did all the cleaning. Then we say, okay, it's time for the wedding. It's time for the marriage. So I thought that was just going to be an afternoon thing or something. But it turns out it's not like that. You got to go. First of all, my husband had a problem with Chicago. And Chicago is a lot more faster. But my husband don't want to have to deal with traffic and stuff. And, so he just didn't like that. So I was like, okay, fine. We'll do it at DuPage County. And when they what I had to do on to get the wedding going. Now, mind you, this is my second marriage. The first one, I wasn't really knowing what happened. And then I knew that I had to go somewhere in front of some man, and that will take care of the wedding stuff. My ex-husband did that, and I didn't know. This time, I had more experience because I actually had to learn how this worked. And anyway, I went, and they make us wait 45 days for this beautiful wedding to take place. I was annoyed by that, but that's besides the point. But anyway, after we already have set for this wedding thing, and we went to the principal character, also known Jean house. I forgot why we needed to go there, what would happen or anything like that. But so I don't know what that event was about. But we were in a house. And when we're in the house, when you're in a house with family, you have conversation. So we was discussing the fact that we will be going to family vacation in Colorado. And I was telling the principal character, also known Jean, that, hey, Jean, I am so happy we're going to Colorado because me and David, we were trying to find places that we may potentially move to. Okay? And when I told her that, I saw the transformation in her. I saw a change in her. I was like, it's as if I told her something out of just planet Earth or another Jupiter or what have you. But it was a bit of a transformation, and I picked that up. Alright? And I got a reaction. Then I was not direct about it, was not rude about it, was not disrespectful about it. All she said is, hey, I don't know if David can leave his family and move to Colorado. It caught me by surprise. Who is David's family? As far as I know, David's family is me, Monica. That's David's wife. That's his family. What other family that David can possibly consider when he make decision where to move to? I didn't quite get it. But I knew that something here is not added up to me. Okay? Because I'm going to tell you right now, my mom is not going to say, hey, Monica, I don't think you can move because you can't leave your family. I'm going to be like, hey, Mom, my family is David. Right? That's at the stage of life that me and David are. So I didn't understand it. I was confused. So I was like, this is not right. Now, when that happened, I don't think she even can remember that was done. Maybe she did. Maybe she spoke about it later or what have you. But I did not forget. I picked that up. So it's like, okay, no problem. I didn't make a fuss about it. And we left and everything's fine. So then, remember I said that I was enforcer of the rule of the house? When David's aunt scheduled a family reunion in her house, one other daughter that I already been mentioning because they sold her 30 minutes to be with her grandmother at the ICU unit. Her name is Emily, also known as David's daughter. She broke the rule that day. She broke the rule. And I won't get specific about what that was. But she broke the rule. When she broke the rule, and we was in our way to, before we even got in the car to go to the aunt family, I said, hey, Emily, you broke the rule. You shouldn't be breaking the rule. This is not cool. How dare are you? You broke the rule. That's what I say. She broke the rule. So when Emily broke the rule, she did not like that. You, Monica, said, I broke the rule. She started crying. Now, one thing I want to say something about Emily. She is not a crying. She cried, but she doesn't cry a whole lot. But she does cry, okay? And typically, my observation when she cries is when she mess up. And she just don't like the response that she got from others that she messed up about. And when others feel like, hey, you wrong me, Emily, then she cry. Maybe a lot of children are just like that. Young people are like that. But she's like that. So, because I knew we would be going the family reunion, and I already knew that principal character's gonna be there. These are her princess, and she already implied about this family thing. This may create a problem. So I told Emily, and I waited there like, hey, you broke the rule. My job here, I am the enforcer of the rules of this house. Okay? You know, that's what happened. You broke the rule. It's not my fault. I'm just telling you, you broke the rule. Okay? That's it. That's all I say. You broke the rule. I'm telling you, and you should stop crying because just not body's fault, by yourself. You broke the rule. Now, she was keep trying the whole time because I already know why she want to keep crying. Because she want to rescue. And who you think is going to rescue her is going to be the principal character, also known as Jean, the matriarch of this family. So when we got there, of course, she keep crying. Emily keep crying. And I knew, hello, this may create a play here. But I am within my rights and I am not tripping about it. I'm just with the whole family, enjoying myself, going about my thing, not caring because, hey, she broke the rule. I then said, hey, Emily, break the rule. So I had to be put in position to say, hey, Emily, you broke the rule. You shouldn't be breaking the rule. So you can cry and I care. No, I really don't care who you cry to, but you broke the rule, right? Well, after that happened, and a cry, a charming little principal character, also known as Jean, she rescued her baby. Then she took them outside, and Lacey went with her because, oh my God, the brownie, the villain, David's wife, she not just, with some, then she's anyway, to resolve the cry situation. So they did it over there. They came in. Jean trying to create what I call intervention with David, and I was there. Henry's sitting over there, and on Henry's part, right? She keep repeating the fact that David is the father. She said it 3 times. I'm like, do we need to go to marriage show? Do we need to confirm the paternity text here? What's up with is the father? Because the only time I hear you're not a father or you the father is a marriage show. This is not a marriage show. This is the Augustine household. So I didn't understand what was that necessary. That was David Henry, also known as Jean Como, and her husband, said him David was the father, and then he said 3 times, but somehow he walked off this little table we were sitting together after he said that because I don't know why he left. but I suspect it's because the crying that Emily was doing a lot of work and is unraveling the family. Okay, this crying should not take place. Some injustice is going on, and this is just not right. Right? That's what the perception I got. So when all that happened, that this whole cry did, is when I was like, hey, this is the house of David Augustine. I know this is all Augustine, but in the house where I was saying that the rule was broken by Emily is the David Augustine house. So I'm not sure what is the deal. Something that's when principal character, because she's classy and with dignity and just the cute white woman you can expect. She said, I think this is not a place to be discussing this situation. We will postpone this issue. And the party went on. It was a lovely party. I love that party. I don't think we're gonna have it anymore because based on the aunt, she said she's getting old and we may not have this party anymore. But anyway, I enjoyed the party. Alright. And that was it. So I was like, okay, no problem. When we left, when we was time for us to go, me, my husband, and Lacey and Emily, also known as David's children, we left, we came home. Right? That was it. And then, a day later, David got a call from principal character, also known as Jean. And she demanded a meeting with David. Not with me, but just with David. Okay, wow. Yeah. I mean, I do remember she said this will have to be postponed. But he said there's going to be a meeting because things need to be talking as a family. And then she's like, well, what's up? What's going on? And so, and at this point, I'm alert, okay? I'm alert. So I was like, David on the phone with his mom, some meeting that need to be attended to by David, no mention of me. So I'm like, okay, what's up? And I'm like, there's need to be an intervention because something need to be worked out as a family. So I said, David, I was like, it's okay if I get on the phone. So I got on the phone. I said, hey, Jean, it's me, Monica. I heard something about a meeting with David. I'm like, what's up? Where you want to take this place? You want to come to our home? Come to our home. Let us know when you're coming, and we can have the meeting right here, right? And fine. They said we set up a time, and they just stopped. One day, I think a day or so later, some knock at the door. I opened the door. Hey, Jean, nice to see you. And she made a comment about a lawn that is a little bit long or something. And Henry, they came in. Okay. Now, what I will have to say about this meeting, in my characterization, it seemed like it was an intervention. There was some sort of an intervention that need to take place in this meeting, trying to intervene this crisis in this family, because obviously things are not really panning out the way is expected. Something is off course for them, right? Well, when they got here, another thing I would say to David is like, hey, they just want to have a meeting without me, Monica, the villain, the brownie, also David's wife, involved. And David's like, nope, sorry. That's, if you want to talk to me about whatever, Monica has to be here. So that's the first thing that was said by my husband. Now, the whole time I've been with David, I never see him act this way. But he was taking charge for the situation. I've been impressed with David for nearly 9 years at that point. I was extremely impressed by that performance. I was like, perfect. Because I, Monica, didn't have to need to show the ghetto proclivity because my husband took care of the charge. That was the thing. So the meeting was discussed from that day, right? There's a whole lot of things that was said, whole lot of some emotion. I think I did a little crying that day, and I typically don't do crying because at that point I already know so much about aspect of my husband's life that really angered me and frustrated me, that how dare are you guys trying to, like, he's an adult, and this is just, I didn't feel that was right. These lines are being crossed, right? So I did that because the immense love I have for my husband and something I came to injustice that I think he had been through. But nevertheless, I think they got the hint, right? That, hey, the family that you think that they even need to consider here, that this family situation need to be reconsidered because it's not the family as we understood it. Well, something took place that some sort of rethinking took place from that day. So that's just one of the data points, right? The data point for, at least for today, is that from that day on, it was understood, at least, that the family, as they understood it before, is not like that. It's not, they have to refigure something here about this family. And this family situation, something that throws it otherwise, is this Monica, the brownie, the villain, and those whole situation with crying, and that just one of the data point I wanted to point out. So for now, that why this power and attorney papers that we've been discussing, why I suspect I may be endorsed or maybe not, but why would this woman go to the extent to which she was trying to exclude the wife of his son from the hospital room? Okay, that is one, right? Well, again, this play will keep going, but that's just one of the things that I wanted to point out why some of this situation is taking place, okay? And tomorrow we'll pick up something else. But before I go, if you remember yesterday episode, I told you that 2 days went by and nothing heard from Jean, who now is out of the hospital in a house, and she's getting some sort of rehabilitation at home. So I did not, because I'm doing display, I don't want them to get the impression that I'm only checking because I'm doing the play. No, that's not right. I checking because I love my husband and I care about all these characters in display. And I think that that's how family should operate. We should be checking on each other. Now, my sister will disagree with that. She said, Monica, you don't check on me every day. That's true. But my sister, that's my sister, right? She's busy, hairdresser. She have everybody there. She talked to my mom or what have you. I don't need to be concerned with her every moment of my life. But in this situation, because I have my husband and my husband mother went through a distressful situation here, and my husband was distressed about it, and the family was a little distressed about it. It's important that we keep checking on her because I just want her to be completely out of the world and out to her life, and there wouldn't be a reason to keep checking on her often, right? Because even though she's out of the hospital, she says she want to do rehabilitation. If you're doing rehabilitation, it doesn't sound to me that you're up and running, right? So yes, I do need to check to make sure she's up and running and good to go, right? So because they went 2 days and she then we didn't hear. It seems like the partner attorney, also known as Christine, is have disconnected herself from doing the communication with us, right? And by that I mean my husband, right? We and she don't have to, because Jean now is capable of texting on her own, so there's no need for her to do it. Also, since Jean is quite awake and up like that, Henry, who's taking care of her, she can also do the texting. So there's no need for the power attorney at this point, because Jean is back in her house, and it's no need for Christine to doing the power attorney duties. So I knew it was 2 days, and because I am the villain of this play, my villaincy is to make sure that things are properly addressed. I'm trying to be as less mean villain as possible. So I'll do my part to make sure that this villain does not come across as everybody hateful villain. I want to come across as sympathetic villain as much as I can. So yesterday I told my husband, hey, been 2 days. We didn't hear from 15 since the last time. Why don't you test Jean? Right? That's what I told him. And he tested Jean yesterday. And after he tested them, we did not have food in this house. I was doing cleaning in the room, like I said yesterday, and I needed some more hangers. So when I ran out of the hangers that I had, I said, hey, David, you said we didn't have enough food. We don't have enough food. Plus, I need hangers. We should go to the store and get the hangers and get the food that we need so we don't starve in this house. He said, sure. So then we went to the store, and then before we went, he said, yes, we need food, you need hangers, but also we cannot cook today because we don't have enough food to cook, so we do have to do the takeout. So make sure you get us some takeout. So I said, sure. Do you want an Indian food? He said, yes. So we went to the store, and on the way to the store, I made a phone call to the Indian restaurant for takeout. And we went to the store. We got the stuff that we needed to do. On our way back, we went to pick up our Indian food. And now, before we got to the Indian restaurant, my husband asked me, "Hey, Monica, why you asked me to test Gene? Are you just want to do it for your play?" And I specifically said what I just said. Okay? Say, "No, I'm not doing that, and you should know better. I'm doing it because we should be checking in a woman that just went to a bit of an ordeal, and she, until we know that she's out of the wood, and we don't have to worry to check often, because even if something happened, we will be notified. But for now, we have to keep checking until we make sure that she's up and running the way she's supposed to." Okay? And so that's what happened. So after we picked up the food, we came home and do everything we had to do. I sat behind this and my chair downstairs next to my husband's computer desk where he sits. He said, "Hey, guess what, Monica? We got a test from Principal Cat, also known Jean, and she said that she's doing good, and that Henry, also known as her common law husband, is taking care of her, and some trying to keep her down, something to the effect that one of the medicine is making her, I don't know, hyper something, I don't know exactly, but that one of the medicines doing that to her, and that she feel like all of this have side tracks. Not just me and my husband, remember I told you about the trail, but it also sidetrack Jean, because Jean typically go take a walk herself. And with this unforgivable weather, it's hard to throw. Maybe that's why everybody else on the edge, because we're not getting enough vitamin D. We're not on the trail. We're not doing walking. We just stuck in these houses because it's unbearable weather. And she said, "I hope you all doing good." And he gave us a suggestion, because like I say, Jean is a really kind-hearted woman, right? And she said, "Hey, maybe you should try to go to Woodfield and do your walk," or something to that effect, right? And then he said, "I hope all of you." He did not say everybody except the brownie. He said all, so I include myself. So you see, I told you she's a lovely woman. She does care about everybody, right? It's true. Just because there's differences of opinion, but she does care. So I told David, "You know what? Gina's right. I haven't thought about it, even though we did it before, but somehow this year I haven't been thinking that the trail is not us. If I can't do it with the trail where I see beautiful animals, I can go to Goodfield." I didn't think about that. So I said, "You know what? Maybe we should go to Goodfield and get some walk." So that's just what I wanted to give the update of Gina. She is doing good, and it doesn't seem as bad as it seems, right? But nevertheless, for today, this is how this play is going to go on. The play will go on, but that's just an update that I wanted to bring into light with what's going on with Jean. Tomorrow, we'll pick up some other aspect of this play, but for right now, that's some of the reason why with this principal character, Jean, the matriarch of the Augustine family, why would she go to the extent to exclude the brownie? That's part of the reason. So tomorrow we'll pick up there, but for now, we will go to Dr. Parenti's book that we are reading. And yesterday, we finished chapter 5. Today, we were picked up on chapter 6. Now, I think, because I don't want to make this video very long, I'm only going to read first section, and it's very short. And then tomorrow, we will pick up where it says suppression of the left. But for now, I'm just gonna start with the chapter, read the section, finish up with the song that we like, and then we'll pick up suppression of the left tomorrow. But let's start with chapter 6. The free market paradise goes east. East I. Capitalist restoration in a former communist country has taken different forms. In East Europe and the Soviet Union, it involved the overthrow of communist governments. In China, it proceeded within the framework of communist system, as seemed to be happening in Vietnam and perhaps will happen eventually in North Korea and Cuba. While the Chinese government continued under the nomadic communist leadership, the process of private capital operation goes on more or less unhindered. Okay? That's what we're gonna leave it today. I don't need to pontificate. That little short paragraph is saying a lot. But I will be pontificating a little bit about this little short paragraph, because when it comes to Dr. Parenti, one of the good things he's good at, he is very succinct, but he is very impactful. Every single word has a power in itself, and it says a lot. It implies a lot. It talks a lot about the whole system thing, because he thinks in systems, just like me, believe it or not. So that's what we'll leave it today. Tomorrow, like I said, I already told you what we will be doing tomorrow. But for now, let's and one more thing. Please subscribe to my channel, because I want my channel to be up. I'm a leftist, and they don't like leftists on US. They don't like leftist ideas. They don't like leftist thinking, as you can see, right? And these tools are white supremacist tools, and white supremacy does not allow room for real dissenting views. They like fake perceived, like the Democratic Party, garbage like that. But the real one, I cannot. They don't want to give it a room. So one thing you can help me with is by subscribing to my videos, watching my videos. That way you tell white supremacists, hey, I understand you don't want to leftist ideas. I know you don't like, brownies, trying to give them a voice. But we like this brownie, and we want to keep this channel going. Please do not delete Augur_M, because also she's reciting a family play, and that's good for posterities. Okay, that's what I want you can help me with. If you do that, I would really appreciate. It's not I'm trying to make anything. I'm not trying to be famous. I'm just trying to record and document a human life, I say, which is my family human life from my perspective. Okay, so that's all I wanted to say. First, so now we are going to leave you with I don't know. You want to hear do you want to hear Mary J. Blige? Well, okay. Yeah, let's listen Mary J. Blige, and I just don't like that, actually. No, I'm gonna go back to No Soy de Aquí, Ni Soy de Allá. We go back to Jorge Cafrune, No Soy de Aquí, Ni Soy de Allá.
Now Taxes is a TurboTax expert, doing it all for you, while you do more of what you love.
You know what I miss most about playing? Yelling, "Hi!" So I got this job.
Me gusta el sol, Alicia y la paloma, el buen cigarro y la mala señora, saltar paredes y abrir las ventanas, y cuando llora una mujer. Me gusta el vino tanto como las flores y los conejos, pero no los tractores, y el pan casero y la voz de Dolores, y el mar mojándome los pies. No soy de aquí ni soy de allá, no tengo edad ni porvenir, y ser feliz es mi color de identidad. Me gusta estar tirado siempre en la arena, en mi matungo perseguir a Manuela, o todo el tiempo para ver las estrellas con la María en el trigal. No soy de aquí ni soy de allá, no tengo edad ni porvenir, y ser feliz es mi color de identidad. Me gusta el sol, Alicia y las palomas, el buen cigarro y las malas señoras, saltar paredes y abrir las ventanas, y cuando llora una mujer.